our eyes are dragging us one way, our ears are dragging us another way, our tongue is dragging us another way, our nose is dragging us another way, and finally our sense of touch is dragging us another way. So all of our different senses, they have different desires, and they all are dragging us in different directions. But using our intelligence, we need to force all of our senses and our mind to be fixed in Krishna's service. Now, out of all of these different senses, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains the most powerful sense is our tongue. So, if you remember the prasadam prayers we recite every day before we take prasad, those prayers we recite before taking prasad, they're actually written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And if you go through those prayers, in those prayers, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that this tongue is the most voracious out of all the other senses. And if one can just control this one sense called the tongue, then automatically he will conquer everything else. Same thing Prabhupada, he writes in Nectar of Instruction also. In that famous verse at the start, first verse, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Prastaga Vegam. Prabhupada again he emphasizes that of all the senses, the tongue is the most hardest to control. If you can just control this one sense, the tongue, everything else will be solved. And how do you control the tongue? Prabhupada explains Nectar Instruction. You control the tongue by engaging the tongue in glorifying Krishna, in always chanting Hare Krishna, and by taking only Krishna Prasad. So if we always engage our tongue in talking Krishna Katha and only taking Krishna Prasadam, then naturally the tongue will be controlled. And after the tongue becomes controlled, the other senses will also easily follow and be controlled. So that's why Mahaprabhu is saying here, if a renunciate is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, his spiritual life will be lost, and he will be subservient to the taste of his tongue. The duty of a person, the renounced order, is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra always. He should satisfy his belly with whatever vegetables, leaves, fruits and roots are available. One who is subservient to the tongue and who thus goes here and there, devoted to the genitals and the belly, cannot attain Krishna. So like this, Mahaprabhu gives a series of verses specifically meant for those in the renounced order of life, how they should be detached, just completely depend on Krishna, not depend on others, just be satisfied by whatever food comes of his own accord. Don't be a servant of your tongue, just accept whatever prasad comes. Like this, Mahaprabhu gives a series of instructions for renunciates. The next day, Raghunath Das inquired at the lotus feet of Swarup Damodar about his duty. I do not know why I have given up household life, he said. What is my duty? Kindly give me instructions. Raghunath Das never even spoke a word before the Lord. Instead, he informed the Lord of his desires through Swarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda. So as a humble servant, it's given here, that Raghunath Das, he never directly went and inquired from Mahaprabhu or talked to Mahaprabhu, but as a humble servant, he always, whatever he wanted to ask Mahaprabhu or relate to Mahaprabhu, he would always send it through, the district section. He would always send it through his mentor, Swarup Damodar Goswami. He will inform Swarup Damodar Goswami that I have this thing to be said to Mahaprabhu, can you please offer this to Mahaprabhu? So as an ideal servant, humble servant, Raghunath Das, he would follow this. He would never even speak a word before the Lord. Instead, he informed the Lord of his desires through Swarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda. The next day, Swarup Damodar Goswami submitted to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das has this to say at your lotus feet. I do not know my duty or the goal of life. Therefore, please give me instruction from your transcendental mouth. So one day, Raghunath Das, he comes to his mentor, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and he asks that I have a question that I want to ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you please, ask this question to Mahaprabhu on my behalf? What is the question? I don't know what is my duty, goal of life. Please personally give me some instructions from your transcendental mouth. So Swarup Damodar, he comes and relays this question to Mahaprabhu. That Raghunath Das, he has this question for you. Now we will hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's response. Smiling Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das, I have already appointed Swarup Damodar Goswami as your instructor. You may learn from him whatever your duty is and how to discharge it. I do not know as much as he. So how does Mahaprabhu respond? very gently, Mahaprabhu is actually indirectly chastising Raghunath Das. How is Mahaprabhu chastising or correcting him? Mahaprabhu is saying, why are you asking me this question? I've already appointed you a mentor, Swarup Damodar. He is more qualified than me. Whatever questions you have, your mentor can answer for you. Why are you trying to bypass your mentor and come to me directly? Instead, you just ask this question to Swarup Damodar. He knows even more than me. Swarup Damodar will answer all your questions. You please surrender unto him. That's what Mahaprabhu is, very gently, mildly instructing Raghunath Das. Smiling, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das, I have already appointed Swarup Damodar Goswami as your instructor. Which means what? Mahaprabhu is saying, I've already given you him as your instructor. Why are you coming and asking me this question? Just ask Swarup Damodar. He will answer all your questions. You may learn from him what your duty is and how to discharge it. I do not know as much as he. Nevertheless, if you want to take instructions from me with faith and love, you may ascertain your duties from the following words. After gently correcting Raghunath Das, Mahaprabhu then says, nevertheless, since you have asked, okay, I will speak something for your benefit. But in general, Mahaprabhu is saying, don't try and come to me, just ask your mentor. He is more than qualified. In fact, he knows even more than me. Whatever problems, doubts you have, you just ask Swarup Damodar, he will take care of you. No need to come to me directly, jumping over your authority. But nevertheless, now that you've asked, okay, I will answer your question. I will speak some words in response to your question. So now these are the famous instructions that Mahaprabhu will give to Raghunath Das Goswami. And this is something we can all remember and apply in our lives. These are two famous slokas. In the first verse, 236, Mahaprabhu will say, don'ts, things we shouldn't do. And in the next verse, Mahaprabhu will say, things that we should do as Vaishnavas. Gramya katana sunebe, gramya vatana kahibe, bhalana kaibe ara, bhalana paribe. So, gramya kata na sunebe. Gramya kata means prajalpa. Do not talk like people in general. So, don't speak prajalpa, and gramya varta na kahibe. Okay, Gramya Katha na sunube means don't hear Prajalpa, and Gramya Katha na kahibe means don't speak Prajalpa. So those are the first two instructions. Mahaprabhu will give 8 different instructions. First is don't hear Prajalpa. Second is don't speak Prajalpa. Third, Bhala na kahibe. Kahibe means to eat. Bhala means very nice, opulent. So don't eat very opulently. Eat simple foodstuffs and just be satisfied with simple prasadam. And bhala na paribe. Paribe means to be dressed. So don't dress too opulently. Don't spend hours, decorating yourself with nice clothes, this and that. It will just make you more into bodily consciousness. So those are the first 4 instructions he gives. So the first 4 are don'ts, things we shouldn't do. We shouldn't, number 1, we shouldn't hear Prajalpa. Gramya karta na sunibe. Second, Gramya karta na kahibe. We shouldn't speak Prajalpa. Then bhala na kahibe. We shouldn't eat too opulently. Just be satisfied with simple prasad. Otherwise, remember, the tongue is the most powerful of all the senses. Then the tongue will start controlling our life and will become a servant of our tongues. And number 4, bhala na paribe. Just, wear simple clothes, dhoti, kurta, tilak, so on and so forth. You don't have to spend so much time dressing very opulently. If you spend so much time, what will happen? You will just become more and more bodily conscious. And this way you'll go backward in your spiritual life. So those are the first 4 instructions he gives. Now we'll hear the last 4 instructions. Amani manadana hana Krishna nama sadalabe vrajerada Krishna seva manase karibe. Do not expect honor, but offer all respect to others. Always chant the holy name of Krishna, and within your mind render service to Radha, Krishna and Vrindavan. So actually there's 5 don'ts and 3 do's. So the 5th don't is Amani manadana hana. Amani means not expecting any respect. Not expecting any respect from others. So don't expect others to praise you, glorify you. Just be humble and just think yourself as very insignificant. And don't have this expectation, that others, I'm a great Vaishnava, others should offer me praise, glorification. Everyone else should notice, my great prowess in devotional service. So don't have that, that expectation, that pride and false ego, that I'm such a great devotee, everyone else must respect me and give me some glorification and boost my false ego. So that's amani. Don't expect honor and respect from others. So that's number 5, fifth instruction. Sixth instruction is manada. Manada means give all respect to others. So don't expect any respect for yourself, but on the other hand, you give all respect to others. See, one prayer Ghanshyam Prabhu was saying we can offer to Radha Gopinath is that, my dear Shishya Radha Gopinath, please bless me with the eyes so I can see your devotees the way you see them. So generally when we see others, we find faults with them. A particular devotee might have so many good qualities, they might be doing so many nice things, but the general condition, tendency of the mind is, there'll be 100 good things, but the mind will always go for that one bad fault. The typical example is given, you have a white sheet of clay or white dhoti, there's one black spot, immediately the eyes will go to that one white spot and will miss the rest of the dhoti. So that is the general conditioning of the mind. A certain person might have so many good qualities, but you just notice one fault, immediately the mind will zoom in on that one fault. And that's the only thing we'll see, that's the only thing we'll remember, and that's the only thing our mind will meditate, that this person, this Prabhu, or this Mataji, he does this or she does that. And our mind just goes for faults like this. So Mahaprabhu is saying that we should flip the consciousness. Instead, we should ignore the faults and just see the good in other devotees, other Vaishnavas. And seeing the good in others, you offer respects to all Vaishnavas by seeing how they're very wonderfully engaged in Krishna's service. So this is easy to say, but very hard to do. Because from so many lifetimes, our mind is conditioned to just find faults with others. So that's why Ghanshyam Prabhu is saying, one prayer we can offer to Shishya Radha Gopinath is, my dear Shishya Radha Gopinath, please bless me with the eyes by which I can see your devotees the way you see them. How do Shishya Radha Gopinath, they see the devotees? They ignore their faults and instead they see their good qualities. That's why it's given that Lord Jagannath, he has very big eyes. Bhakti Purushottam Raj explains, Lord Jagannath, he has big eyes because with his big eyes, he's always trying to see any good quality we have. We might have an ocean of anathas, being born and brought up in Kali Yuga, we might have so many anathas and faults. But with Lord Jagannath, with his big eyes, he will find out some small good qualities with us and he will magnify that and give us full credit. Just like Lord Jagannath, he does that with Putana. Putana, she had all bad qualities. She was coming with the intention to kill Krishna. And previously, Putana, she had killed so many hundreds of innocent children in the Vraja area. Kamsa had sent her, go to this area of Vraj, in this area, and whatever babies have been born in the past week or so, just kill them. Because he didn't know which baby was Krishna. So Kamsa, he gave this task to Putana. You go to this area, any newborn babies in this area, you just murder them, poison them and kill them somehow or other. So this was Putana's background, such a heinous, sinful demon. And again, she was coming to Krishna with the same motive, to poison Krishna. But again, Lord Jagannath, what does he do? With his big eyes, he just sees one small good quality in Putana and completely ignores all the faults. Lord Jagannath, with his big eyes, he's just seeing, okay, she might be a demoness, okay, she might be coming to poison me, okay, she might be witch, but, she's dressed as a Brajvasi, she's coming to feed me milk, she wants to serve me, okay, I'll give her the position equal to that of my mother in the spiritual world. So this is the mood of Krishna, this is the mood of Lord Jagannath. That with his big eyes, he ignores all of our faults and he's just simply looking for opportunity to give us credit. So this is the way Krishna or Lord Jagannath, he sees his devotees. He ignores their faults and he glorifies or magnifies the wonderful services his devotees do. So Ghanshyam Prabhu is saying we can offer this prayer that, my dear Lord, please bless me with the eyes that I can see your devotees in the same way that you're also seeing your devotees. Currently eyes are seeing, with a conditioned mindset, just finding faults. Prabhupada used to call this as fruit fly tendency. The tendency of flies is to always go to different garbage areas and eat garbage. But the honeybee will always go for different beautiful flowers and take honey from different flowers. So Prabhupada used to say we should be like honeybees. We should go and observe wonderful different services that different devotees are doing take inspiration from that. And that is the honeybee taking nectar. Just like our Michael Prabhu, every night, for so many hours, he so sincerely put so much hard work and effort into cleaning the temple. After everyone's gone, he is there, for 3-4 hours, cleaning the whole temple. No. Yeah, so for so many years, he's been serving so selflessly. So when we see that, we're acting like a honeybee. We're taking that nectar from Prabhu, taking the inspiration. Okay, I should also sincerely, with dedication, also do whatever service is assigned to me. So in this way, Prabhupada says, this is honeybee mentality. You see what good other Vaishnavas doing it, you glorify that, you appreciate that, and you try and apply it in your own life. Fruit fly mentality is, you find faults with everyone. This Prabhu is like this, he does this, she does like that. And that's just collecting garbage from here and there. If we collect garbage from here and there, our consciousness will be garbage only. So Prabhupada says we should train our minds. It takes some effort. It's not easy because for so many lifetimes we've been conditioned like this. So it requires some willpower, some determination. It requires a lot of begging in front of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, by the mercy of Radha Gopinath, by our own personal endeavor, we can train our mind to act like a honeybee and not like a fruit fly, just searching for garbage. So these are the 8 instructions Mahaprabhu he gives to Raghunath Das. Gramya Katha na sunibe. Don't hear prajalpa, Gramya Varta na kahibe. Don't speak prajalpa. Then bhala na kahibe. Don't eat too opulently. Bhala na paribe. Don't dress too opulently. Then amani. Don't expect any respect, honor, and praise or glorification towards yourself. But instead, you give respect to everyone else. Okay, that's 6. Then number 7 is, always chant the holy name of Krishna. So that is, Krishna Nama Sada Labe. Always chant the holy name of Krishna. That's the 7th instruction. And the 8th instruction is, Vraje Radha Krishna Seva Manase Karibe. Within your mind, render loving service to Shri Shri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. Now, if you observe these 8 different instructions Mahaprabhu gives to Raghunath Das Goswami, they go sequentially. Which means, unless we do the first instruction, we can't do the second one. And unless we do the second one, we can't do the third one. So they go progressively up. So what's the first instruction? First instruction is, Gramya Katha na sunibe. Don't hear prajalpa. So unless we can fulfill or tick the first instruction, we can't do the second instruction, which is, don't speak prajalpa. And unless we're doing the first 2, which is don't hear prajalpa and don't speak prajalpa, we can't do the third one, which is controlling the tongue and not eating too opulently. So like this, it goes sequentially. Then next is, don't dress too opulently. Next is, not expecting any respect for oneself. Then after that comes, giving all respects to others. Then only after that comes number 7, which is, always chant the holy name of Krishna. 24 hours a day, just continually chant the Hare Krishna mantra. But before we can come to that stage of constantly chanting Hare Krishna, we have to do the previous 6 stages, previous 6 steps, which is don't speak or hear prajalpa, control your tongue, control your eating, don't dress too opulently, don't get so much into bodily consciousness, give all respect to others, don't expect any respect for oneself. So until we can do these 6 steps, we can't do the 7th, which is 24-hour kirtan, which is 24 hours chanting Krishna's holy name. Then the final one is, number 8 is, Vraje Radha Krishna Seva Manase Karbe, which means, in your mind, render service to Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. So we can't just directly, Prabhu Mataji, I'm meditating on serving Shri Shri Radha Gopinath in Vrindavan. This is my service. I don't have time to clean or cook in the kitchen. I don't have time to do this service, that service. I am doing the 8th instruction. In my mind, I am in Vrindavan and I am serving Radha Gopinath in my mind. No, this 8th step is only for very elevated devotees. Only for someone who has already fulfilled the previous 7 steps, only he can practice the 8th step, which is serving Radha Krishna in one's mind, in Vrindavan. Which means we should have controlled our tongue, which means we should be giving all respect to others, which means we should expect no respect for ourselves, which means we should be constantly chanting the glories of the Lord. Only if we have fulfilled all the 7 instructions, only then can we practice the 8th instruction Mahaprabhu, which is rendering service in one's mind to Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. Okay, we'll stop here. Shri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai, Jaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.